current life, the affair he's having with Miss Leading against his fake fiance, his like almost business partnership with the pimp and the priest, and he has a opioid addiction now. Fun. He's ashamed. He hates it, but his mother comes to him as like an apparition.
Yo, Schwang, thank you very much for the sub. Poop souls, true. Why was there no sound?
Well, Cake, we'll get there. So the boy gets a vision of his mom saying, "Do right by your younger self, and your soul will be set free." Awake, the boy wakes up and realizes that the vision of his mom was a dream. That is all Awake is. That's it. Very simple.
I don't get it. Start again?
Alright, Cascade. Song number 3. The boy is wandering the city after leaving the den. Basically just like thinking about everything and realizing how he didn't keep any of the promises he made while running for mayor, or any of the promises he kept to himself on his way back from the war. That he's nothing but a puppet to the pimp and the priest. And none of the citizens don't like him anymore because everything he's done is met with like just like disdain and like negative mood.
Negative vibes.
So the boy stumbles into the church and like prays before God of like what to do. Like his addiction to opioids is like back in full swing. It's like the time skip, like he had his addiction started somewhere after Act 4 and he cleaned up and then it started coming back at the beginning of Act 5. So his addiction comes back. He passes out on the floor of the church. So the most cursed hands / who am I? The most cursed hand, the boy wakes up to the priest telling a story about a gambler who met the devil. The gambler found pride in winning all of the devil's money and wanted a trophy from the devil to further drive home that he was like the best gambler, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the devil goes, "Why don't we gamble for my soul?"
Also, this song is fantastic.
Yeah. So the devil goes, "Why don't we gamble for my soul?" And the gambler goes, "Holy shit, the devil's soul. Fantastic." The gambler wins. The gambler realizes after he wins the soul, because of like the way the devil reacts, that it was a ploy by the devil to set himself free. And now that the gambler owns the devil's soul, he must become the new devil. And that the devil is now free to be not the devil. And the whole premise...
That's pretty good.
And the whole premise of like the story of Most Cursed Hands is, if you want everything, or you can't want everything, because you will become something you never intended to become.
Mm-hmm.
So then we cut to Who Am I? And Who Am I is basically... The boy realizes that this story was a jab at him from the priest. So the boy wakes up and there's a whole congregation around him, right? Everyone's like funneled into pews and stuff. And the priest tells this story. And he realizes that the priest saw him and made this a jab at the boy. And the whole point of Who Am I is the boy trying to realize is he the devil or is he the gambler? And he's trying to decide, like, it's like the moral dilemma of which side of the story am I on?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Most Cursed Hands is so good, dude.
I agree. Fantastic. One of the best songs on Act 5. So he's like warning the idea and he goes, "You know what? Whatever. I know I can't beat this guy, but I need to figure out what I'm going to do." Sermon ends, people leave. Priest approaches the boy. Part 5. The Revival. The dime has reopened, bigger and better, but not only as a brothel, it's also like kind of a casino because people gamble there. It's like take any kind of sin or vice, alcohol, gambling, drugs, sex, put it in one building, and that's the dime 2.0, basically. Think of like a sad Mohegan Sun.
So a Mohegan Sun.
Yeah, more or less. So,
Oof.
in this, the reason it was reopened is all thanks to the boy becoming mayor and the priest knowing who he was and being able to pull all these strings behind the scene. And this was the pimp and the priest's ploy the whole time, was to get the dime reopened bigger and better. That was always been his plan.
Okay.
It's like the thing opens and the boy's like, I can't do anything. And he's like, so the song ends with him worrying if he wants to resign as mayor. But also it's like, I want to just fucking leave. But if I leave, this guy will just take absolute power and then this city's gone. Mm-hmm. Right?
Like, I want freedom, but these people don't deserve what would happen if I acquired it.
So then, song 6, Melpomene, I guess? I don't know how it's pronounced. We're going
Melpomene.
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 It's basically like, this is like a third-person view of it. Like,
Melpomene?
The boy's situation is hopeless, but not all is lost. The one good thing he has in his life is the relationship that he's been having with Miss Leading since they met. They've been having like a side thing since he met with her again at the end of Act 4.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only thing he has that's positive in his life. And the song ends with him basically being like, I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm going to get rid of the reign that the pimp and the priest has over this city. I don't know how, but we're gonna do it. So, song number 7, Mr. Usher on his way to town.
Hold on. So, Melpomene was one of 9 muses, the goddesses of music, song, and dance. In the classical era, when the Mosai, which was also muses, were assigned specific artistic and literary spheres, Melpomene was named Muse of Tragedy.
Oh, dude, and this is why Casey is like the best writer ever. Anyways, song number 7, Mr. Usher on his way to town. People outside the city from other cities learn of the success of the dime. Mr. Usher learns about it and heads. Mr. Usher is... Think of like old-timey Italian mafia, right?
Mm-hmm.
He is of a prior generation. He's a much worse human being than the pimp and the priest is. He used to be a politician and a very successful businessman who has big mafia ties. And he wants the dime for himself, basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he comes to the city. And on his way to the city, he's basically like, I want the dime, and to get the dime, I need to control the mayor. So that is our little precursor meeting to Mr. Usher, who sadly is not in the concept as much as I want him to be, but that's fine, I guess. The haves have not. Mr. Usher finds the boy and makes him an offer to take down the pimp and the priest. And the boy, they're talking about like the citizens of the city and like their lives, and the boy's like, holy shit, this guy's fucking evil. And like it's like kind of like from like a morality standpoint, like the boy sees the people of the city as people who like should like have hope and prosper for better lives, and Mr. Usher sees them as pawns for money.
Yeah,
So
basically,
Mr.
piggy
Usher, so
banks.
so Mr. Usher's like, consider my deal. We'll meet again soon. And Mr. Usher leaves, and then the boy's like, how did this man become this way? And that song ends. So Light, song number 9. The boy is a son, by the way, with the fiance. It is assumed that the night that after the song after a night on the town when they had sex, she got pregnant. And had a son. And the premise of this song is basically the relationship that the boy and the fiance have is hollow. There is no emotion anymore. There's nothing. But what the boy does have is absolute love and endearment for his son. So the son is an infant, right? Doesn't understand anything, but he's holding his son and he's crying, and he's telling his son everything in his life that's happened since he came to the city the first time. He confides in his son, who is an infant and doesn't understand, but it's like that cathartic sense of just putting it all out on the table, right?
Yeah.
He tells the fiance, he's like, you need to take our son and get out of this city, for it is dangerous and it is something terrible is going to happen. Go to the river and follow it north. You will find a small house on a lake. Live out your lives there. That's the house he grew up in with Miss Terry. But he's like, go there, live out your lives, get as fucking far away from our city, and never let our son back to the city so long as he lives. And they leave. So Gloria, the boy, gets cracked out of his mind again on the opiates and passes out and has another drug-induced dream, seeing the key moments of his life. He sees burying his mom. He sees fighting in the military. He sees when his half-brother picked him up out of the trenches. In the end of his dream, the apparition of his mom comes back and reminds him to make things right with his younger self, to be saved, and that the pain he feels now will bring him the glory he's been looking for his entire life. Which is why the line in Gloria, it's in Latin, but it translates to, with great pain comes all the glory. That's the first line in the chorus of Gloria. Like, the song Gloria is not named after a woman named Gloria, it's literally the word glory in Latin. So, that's Gloria. Now, my favorite 2 Deer Hunter songs of all time. The flame is gone, the fire remains.
So good.
Amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. The flame is gone. Mr. Usher finally gets to the pimp and the priest. They know each other from well in the past. Mr. Usher's like, I know you're losing control of the boy. He is setting himself up to dismantle you. And Mr. Usher goes, I know what you need to do. You need to break this boy down to his fundamental levels, make him a shell of a human being, and he will be a puppet completely under your control. And the pimp and the priest goes, how do I do that? And this guy goes, you need to get rid of the one thing he cares about, which is misleading. So the pimp goes to the dime and murders misleading.
Damn.
That's the fire is gone. Or the flame is gone, sorry. So the fire remains. The boy hears of Misleading's death. And now, because he's been looking for a way to, like, take the priest down for so long, right? But he could never find it. He realizes it now. With his fiance, or with it's his wife, technically. And his son's safe, with them at the little cottage. And with Misleading dead, nothing's holding him back. So, he burns down the dime. Literally just burns it down. Unfortunately, the dime and the church are very close together, and the wind sweeps the fire, and it burns the church down as well.
Is that unfortunate?
it plays into what happens for the rest of the song, the rest of the album.
I guess.
So his intent is only to burn down the dime. Church catches fire as well. So the march. Citizens gather around the burning church. The pimp and the priest tells everyone who the boy is. But he lies. He says the boy killed the son to take his identity, came back, and he's a cynic. He burned down the church. He's going to burn down the city and rebuild it in his image. He's like a wolf. He's like a wolf among sheep coming to kill the flock, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's basically like, he exposes the boy, but he lies about it to get everyone on his side. So this is like the big climax, right? So the priest, the pimp and the priest and a big mob go to the boy's house. But the pimp and the priest enters alone, right? And that's the end of the march. Then blood. The pimp and the priest goes in and is like, look, dude, you see that fucking mob outside of you? Like, outside, they're here for you. And the boy goes, I don't care. He goes, all I wanted to do is save these people from the evil that's been plaguing them, and that's you. They have a little scuffle. The boy stabs and kills the pimp and the priest, which plays into Mr. Usher's plan. So now Mr. Usher we'll get there. But this is the plan that Mr. Usher knew if he went to the boy and then the pimp and the priest, he'd have them basically kill each other, right?
Well,
So
it's too late now.
the boy stabs the pimp and the priest, killing him. And now the last song of the concept, beginning. The boy knows the mob will kill him. He knows that Mr. Usher is going to take control of the city. But the pimp and the priest is dead. So he's kind of like, he's dead. I'm happy. My mission is over. Whatever befalls the city afterwards, not really my concern, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the boy tries to escape, but the mob starts swarming into his house. And he knows that he won't survive. And the only option for him is death by like drowning in the currents of the river. So he jumps out the window of his house into the river. And all he hears is the water, and his final moments are lonely and dark, and just there's despair and there's nothing, which was so hinted at in the beginning of the concept, that the boy was gonna die scared and alone with no one around, and it would be dark and lonely and devoid of any positive emotion. And as the boy's body is starting to succumb to the water and the temperatures, in his final moments as he's floating down the river, he sees the tree at the edge of the property where his son and the fiance are. And he sees apparitions of misleading Miss Terry and his half-brother standing there, smiling at him. And he realizes he's not alone, and as he dies, he acknowledges that he's finally home and he'll finally have the life that he wants. And that ends Act 5, and that's the end of the concept. It's really fucking good.
It's really good.
Also, if you listen, so like there's a couple other things, like, so if you listen to, let me just make sure, because I don't want to misspeak. All right. So they do a lot of musical callbacks. Yeah. So what song is this? So yeah. So in Bethesda, or in Act 1 rather. Is it? Hold on. The River North has the same piano melody that a beginning has at the very end, but the one in the beginning has like an old film grain effect to acknowledge the callback to the first album. Then, like the end of A Night on a Town has the callback to Bittersweet Part 1. And there's a lot more that I'm misremembering and I need to listen to it again. But there's a lot of references to things that happened before once we have more information about what's happening to shed a new light on what we heard already. Those are really
incredible.
There's a reason that Casey Crescenzo is the best writer in modern like indie music. And it's because of things like that.
Yeah, that's
because
insane.
he managed to write such a good concept that doesn't have elements of science fiction or like mythology or anything. It's just well written. The music's fantastic. Mm-hmm. If you listen to it enough, myself, you can extrapolate what happens. Thanks to the help of a little bit of Reddit research. It's not so ambiguous you can't tell what's happening. And you can really piece the story together. And it gives a much deeper appreciation to the music once you know what every song means. Because now you'll go and re-listen to it, or if any Cake or Cat, whoever fucking remembers any of this, I'm sure none of you will, but that's fine.
I mean, I'm literally gonna rewatch the VOD. and
but just like watch the VOD, pause it, and listen to the song.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and, like,
100%.
Because Casey uses a lot of like metaphor and like illusion and like that kind of stuff in his music.
Other big words we learned at school.
A lot of the metaphor is kind of deep until you know what he's being metaphorical about. Like, you're like, what does this mean? But then we're like, oh, this song is about like when Miss Leading passed away or something. And then you're like, that's what the metaphor means. Oh, you can appreciate and respect how he writes music from just the music standpoint. But when you know the story behind it, it makes the appreciation that much deeper.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's everything. It took an hour and a half. Holy shit.
I mean, hey, I'm not complaining.
I mean, I like to talk about it, dude. It's good.
It is.
I wrote a paper about it in school.
Damn. High school or?
No, college. But it was only up until Act 4 because Act 4 came out. And my teacher was like, your paper's unfinished. I was like, the album hasn't come out yet. Yeah, Cake, this concept is miraculous. It's fantastic. It's so good. I see. And I have such a deeper appreciation for the music. One, from just like a musician standpoint, as someone who writes music, I just appreciate what Casey and crew are able to do. But then from a lyrical standpoint and a story crafting standpoint, he's just like, he's basically just like an author who can write music. Like if you listen to Coed and Cambria, Claudio Sanchez is a musician who can kind of write. But Casey Crescenzo is an author who writes music. And it shows in his work. And like, I like a lot of their stuff that's not the original acts, but like, it just doesn't hold a candle.
Mm-hmm.
The acts are just... That's S-tier music right there.
It is. Oh, 100%.
It's S-tier, S++ tier music. You can't fucking beat it, dude. I listened to the whole... Dude, fucking, if you do a project about this, I will help you with it. Like, I will help with this, dude. Shit's so good. You just tell me how you're gonna write your speech, and I'll just re-recite everything to you. I love talking about it. Because here's the thing. Most people, quite frankly, don't give a fuck or know who the Deer Hunter is, but you're like, I want to talk about this. I'm like, Grant, you don't know what you're getting yourself into?
I mean, I don't know, dude. I'm never off put by that. It just...
Is it more or less than you anticipated for what the music is?
It was about what I expected. Because it, like... I think the only way that you could have explained it anymore is if you had, like, fully babied it. Where it was, like, you explained each metaphor or whatever.
I mean, I probably could if I broke out the lyrics, but like we would be here until like 1 in the morning, and we get through like 2 albums. Dude.
Yeah. So for context, Cake, this is an interest that Sean has, and like, and so I expected a lot.
I'm one of those people who seems fairly like aloof and nonchalant about a lot of things, but the things I'm interested in, I'm at like a mastery level very quickly.
Yeah.
Which is just how I've always been. Grant can confirm for me.
Mm-hmm. Dota, Bleach, Coheed and Cambria, The Deer Hunter.
Coheed's concept, that's a big one. It's a lot more straightforward though. It's not as
there's just so much there, dude.
Not really.
Well, I just meant like there's more material, right?
No, it's still. I mean,
how many albums do they have?
Well, it's not. The Deer Hunter is a lot more like allegorical in how its concept is portrayed, whereas like the Amory Wars is what you see is what you get.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite part of the Amory's Wars concept isn't even fucking the main story. It's the fucking Afterman Ascendancy and Descendancy.
I honestly don't know enough about them to hold a conversation with you.
All right, I won't give you the. I'll make it very brief, right? It's a sci-fi concept, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the main concept is in keeping, or the second stage turbine blade is the first of the main concept. Or actually, no. Here, let me tell you the concept in order of how it is based on the albums, right? So, Afterman, Ascendancy, and Descendancy are the first in the order for the concept. Then Year of the Black Rainbow. Then Second Stage Turbine. Then In Keeping Secrets. Then Good Apollo 1 and 2. That's the end of the formal concept. Then, Unheavenly Creatures takes place around the same time Year of the Black Rainbow does, but an offshoot in a different part of the universe that is supposed to coincide later in the story. But that's like what a Rogue One is to like Star Wars, right?
Yeah. Also,
same
Kate,
universe,
glad you
different.
stuck around. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did.
Yeah, dude. I hope you enjoyed my telling of one of my favorite bands of all time's masterclass of albums, dude. Holy shit. So good. Wait until you listen to the fucking color spectrum, Grant. Holy shit. Have you listened to Color Spectrum at all or no?
There's one song on the list, and I didn't mean to add it, and I need to remove it because I want this that playlist to be just the acts compiled.
So Color Spectrum, there's a complete collection, right?
Mm-hmm.
I recommend just listening to the complete collection. It's 36 songs. But so how it works, it's 9 4-song EPs. And each one is just titled a color. So there's black, blue, green, indigo, orange, red, violet, white, and yellow, right? Each one has a wildly different genre from the last.
Oh, that's interesting.
So like...
Yeah, I got another 1% drop! Oh, I can cheese the boss now in a dumb way.
So, cool. Like, yellow is, like, super indie. Like, like, today's indie.
Mm-hmm.
White is, like, more alternative rock indie.
I kind of want as few spoilers as possible.
I mean, there's no concept. It's just every EP, the 4 songs. So how it was is Casey put the songs on the EP and named it after the color that he thought was like from the emotional evocation of the music.
Mm-hmm.
So like the 4 songs that are from Orange, he's like, these songs are just, I feel the color orange when I listen to them.
Mm-hmm.
The 4 songs on Indigo, I feel the color indigo when I listen to them, right? I actually went to the live show for the Color Spectrum. It was 2.5 hours long. They played every song front to back, and depending on what EP they were playing is what color the stage was.
That's
very
really cool. I would love to be able to see them in concert.
I've seen them 3 times. 2 times when they opened for Coheed and Cambria, and then once for that Color Spectrum live show.
God, them being an opening band is a crime.
I mean, I found out from them because they opened from Coheed and Cambria.
That's nuts.
So they opened for Coheed, and I was like, this band is amazing. What the fuck is happening? And I went with my friend Nate, and Nate was like, they were pretty good. I'm like, pretty good. They're changing music for me.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, so the Color Spectrum, I mean, I know the order. I know what song comes from what. I recommend just putting the Color Spectrum on, and just like when you listen to a song, think of a color and see if you're right. It's a good little, it's a fun experiment.
Okay.
Then Migrant is a really strong album considering there's no concept. It's just an album of songs that I think they had like an album's worth of song after they finished the Color Spectrum, so they just put out like an album. It's very good. It's a very good album. Live is good. The Fox and the Hunt is an interesting one.
Interesting good or interesting different?
Casey and a guy named Brian Adam McCoon, wrote a bunch of songs with an orchestra, and they put out an album.
Huh.
But it's all non-lyrical interludes, because I'm pretty sure... So, it's always been said that it was actually supposed to be a 6-act concept, right?
Oh, there's supposed to be an Act 6?
So Casey's always like, oh, my 6-act concept. And everyone's like, Casey, there's 5 albums. He said, who said Act 6 had to be an album? They are pushing graphic novels for every album currently. That is what Act 6 is.
Oh.
But there has also been...
Are any of them released yet, or...?
Let me...
Because I 100% would pick those up.
I think just the graphic novels from Act 1.
Huh.
Here's the thing. Graphic novels coming out could change a lot of... I think my telling of the concept is like 95% correct. Yeah, I would say my telling of the concept is like 95% correct. So it just comes down to what the things say. The only one that came out was like a very limited run of Act 1 so far, and only like a couple hundred people got it, so it's impossible to find. But there has been big speculation that Casey wants to do a theatrical performance of Acts 1 through 5.
I believe it.
And that the album The Fox and the Hunt is the music for the play.
Feels bad. I died.
Yeah, The Fox and the Hunt is unused orchestral pieces from Act 4 and 5 put together in a cohesive 60-minute musical story, released with the box set of the albums, which is So Act 6 is going to be The Fox and the Hunt, all the albums, CD and vinyl, and all of the graphic novels when it's finished at the end of next year. That is going to be Act 6.
Damn.
And I don't care how much it costs, I'm buying it.
I mean, probably same.
But so good, dude. I don't know what to do.
It's one of those things where, like, the worst part of the album is the waiting.
I don't even know. I don't even know what I want them to do, because I'll listen to anything they put out, but like, Put out like an Act Zero.
What, like, what put the mom in the situation in the first place?
Like write the Deer Hunter equivalent of like the Silmarillion. Like give me something like that.
Well, that sounds like a lot.
Build the universe for me of 1890s France. Yeah, I don't know. It's good. I know way too much about it, but that's fine.
Pretty be careful.
I mean, I'm glad you know that much about it, because this has been fantastic.
You asked, and I was like, ah. I literally just went, ha ha.
Oh no.
I'm so excited. I love talking about it.
I'm glad, dude.
Well, on that note, you have fun with your stream. I need some water. My mouth is dry.
Hell yeah, dude. Thank you for enlightening us. This was a ton of fun.
Yeah, I had fun with it. If there's anything else that I know of that you want to learn about, Grant, just let me know.
I wish that you could be a teacher for like weirdly niche things, because you'd probably
like college professor for like obscure niche pastimes.
Oh, for sure.
I wish I could teach a class on like conceptual music theory. That would be a lot of fun.
You could probably find a school where you could do that if you came to them with like, if you built a curriculum.
Like a semester-long curriculum.
Yeah.
I could probably go to some super like a small liberal arts school.
Mm-hmm.
But like the whole school has like 3,000 kids.
Yeah.
You do some shit like that. I might just have to try. Imagine I'm like, yo, I'm gonna be a teacher.
I mean, I might eventually end up being a teacher. Who knows?
See, I could see you being a teacher. I can't see me being a teacher.
I could see you being a teacher in a fairly lax school.
Oh yeah, I'd be the cool teacher. Cause I'd be over here like, listen up, cockheads, we gotta learn today.
God.
All right, dude, have fun with your Dark Souls. Yeah, I'm gonna go get some water and like take a nap or some shit.
Hell yeah, man.
I haven't slept since yesterday. I'm a little tired.
Oh god.
Some things never change, Grant. Some things never change, dude.
You and HP, that's all I hear. It's like, how's it going? You're like, good. I'm working off of no sleep in the past 40 hours. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Oh, sick. Great.
All right, dude.